Hey, Nation, we're with a new friend, Paul Higgins. Paul, I'm going to poke at you and say you're the Thunder Down Under. I think that was a male dance team in Las Vegas, but you're in Melbourne, Australia, which in my travels with Microsoft and beyond, I really like Melbourne. It's different than Sydney. That I can't quite. You guys you dress smart. The architecture is different. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's a little more European,
Yeah,
is how it's best described.
yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed Melbourne. So, sir, let's do a hello world. I mean, just as we all do, I bumped into you. You're doing SaaS and cloud and podcast, and you have 17,305 followers. So, introduce yourself. What is your story?
Yeah, well, in short, I worked for Coca-Cola for 18 years, not thinking I was going to work there for more than a day because my father worked there. They said I'd never work there, and I did. I went from a rep to a director, and it was brilliant. It was a brilliant ride. It was when sugar was a lot more acceptable, I got to
Yeah,
say. So I sort of went through the heyday, and then I saw the start, because Australia is often a canary in the coal mine within the Coke company. So we're a bit ahead of the trend here from a consumer point of view, and started to drop. And I also had I've got a kidney disease called polycystic kidney disease. And that was for nephrologists like saying, being a director of Coca-Cola, flying around the world, yeah, it's not great for your kidneys. And
yeah.
so in 2011, I left, and I thought I'd coach people in corporate, realized that there's a lot of reasons I wanted to leave corporate and I couldn't really help them. So I went into small business, and the rest is history. I've, started two companies. We sold one of them in 2019. And I just love helping cloud consultants these days.
Yeah, yeah. What I know to be true, and again, just my Redmond, Washington experience, with Australia, is it's the land of SMB. I think they also say milk and honey, but it's the land of SMB, and we did really, really well on a per capita basis. You led the world with small business server sales.
Yeah.
And so you're right in the zone, right? Is that fair? I mean, that you're tapping right into that economic sector.
Yeah. Look, and we've got, I think, the highest per capita of nearly everything in the world because our population is so small, right? But certainly small businesses franchise. I think we've got the most consolidated or concentrated franchise market in the world as well. But it's funny, like I always joke that, I'm an Australian. I live in Melbourne, but I work in the US. So, most of my community and most of my clients are all in the US now. So, and, you name it, what I listen to, what I watch, everything's US based these days. And sometimes people talk to me about local events and I'm like, oh, okay, I missed that one.
Well, that's good and bad. I with my travels back some time ago, but I always had to, and it's all fun and games, but there was a certain segment in Australia where I kind of had to apologize for the US or being an American. It often had to do with the president in office. Again, this is quite a couple presidents ago. And but I took it on the chin. I mean, but Australian, you guys, you're a little bit like where I live in Austin, Texas, and you're a little bit like Texans. You're very proud. you know so but I do miss it. The pandemic certainly didn't help with that kind of travel. Give me some use cases about the consulting you do in the technology space in particular.
Yeah. So most of our members of the community, it's called the Cloud Consultants Collective. They've typically left corporate. They've working, or they've started their own consulting business in either major platforms. They're Microsoft, Salesforce, HubSpot, you name them, right? So they're consulting on, and they're consulting first and then implementing a platform second. Some are specific to a platform that they only do, say HubSpot or Microsoft. Others are like, have got a couple because they don't want to be a one-trick pony. And they've got between sort of 1 and 50 employees. And the biggest thing that I help them with is the business strategy in sales and marketing because they love what they do. They love being hands-on a lot of the times. They try to get themselves out of delivery and they really struggle with that. And when it comes to sales and marketing, they've typically got word of mouth referrals, which is great. But as they want to go scale more, they're like, I actually need a consistent flow of leads here. And that's what we help them with.
Yeah. Let me, look at this. You're a golfer. Okay. That's cool. This is fun. This is fun to go through people's LinkedIn profile. Let's focus on the Accelerate Sales podcast. So what's going on there? What's the mission? What's the basic theme?
Yeah, look, the theme is very aligned to what my clients want, which is, how do we gain more leads, more clients into our business to scale? And most people, certainly to your first million. And I remember the book. I think it's Matheson. I always get it wrong, but Ready, Fire, Aim. And he talks about getting, you as the owner has to get to your first million in sales, right, before you bring in sales teams. And, the podcast is dedicated to people that are, wanting to do that. And especially, I was lucky. I was trained in Coca-Cola for 18 years and have all the experience of sales, right? And I still found it hard when I used to sell for my own consulting business. So I say to a lot of people, just relax. Like, I know, you're a little fearful of it. You're not 100% sure how to do it, but you haven't spent 18 to 20 years doing it, right? So, and that's what I share in my podcast. I get experts like yourself. You were on recently, which was brilliant, to come on and talk about their journey and how they've accelerated their sales, and then also do a little solo show every second week.
Well, it's interesting that you have, and I'm new to understanding your past life, primarily through my startup in the cannabis technology space. But I learned a term, and if I get it wrong, correct me, is it consumer packaged goods, CPG? And that's what I view Coca-Cola as, right? You have a CPG background. I do not. And so there's been a little bit of a learning curve. I'm sure, it's like anything, experience at the end of the day trumps, not quite the right word, but experience is everything. Education kind of gets you to the point where you can get experience. But have you been able to leverage your CPG background in helping your clients? What's that look like?
Yeah, well, in short, the Coke model was very similar to what most SaaS models were today, right? And there's been, there's a push even more towards, letting the partners do all the end work. But the Coke company very early on said, look, we'll do the brand, we'll do the marketing, we'll do the product, and then we'll have franchisees that does everything else, right? So it was the way that I look at it is that the Coke company it's a dated product. It's got lots of capital involved in it. SaaS is just the new model of that, right? So there's so many things I can draw from. That's why when we worked with our partners when we owned our business, like I just knew how to work with the owner, the SaaS owner, to get the best result for them and for us, right? Because that's what I've been doing all my life. I've been working with the Coke company and the bottlers to get a result. And it was sort of like a marriage that, didn't really, it didn't end, but sometimes it had its good days, sometimes it had its bad days, right? And how to navigate those. And a lot of my clients, they haven't dealt with that relationship before. Once again, they love the technology, and I sort of help with that. So yeah, a lot of parallels. But instead of selling sugar in a can, which is not great when you've got a kidney disease, because 30% of people on dialysis are actually from having too much sugar. Now, I'm effectively applying those learnings to something that I absolutely love, where SaaS is changing the world.
Well, I like the marriage analogy because I've used that with my long-term multi-decade relationship with Microsoft. And it is a marriage. When she's good, she's very good. And when she's bad, she's very bad.
Yeah. And just a quick one on that. We supported a platform that was bought by Citrix. And I was on a European tour before I had my transplant. The last sort of trip, I went to Copenhagen for a day, and they presented their strategy. And I called my business partner up and said, we're out of here. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, No, this is the wrong marriage. We've got to get out of this one. The direction they're going to take it is not going to work. And unfortunately for all the partners that stayed, that was the case. But I think, if I hadn't had that experience, I probably would have wasted, 3 or 4 years of our business life, whereas I was able to pick up the signs pretty quickly.
Yeah, no, good for you. Finally, where can people learn more about you? I mean, I keep looking at your LinkedIn profile, so certainly through LinkedIn, but where can they contact you directly? What's your URL?
Yeah. Look, it's paulhigginsmentoring.com. That's the home of everything. And the cloudconsultantscollective.com. You can still find it from the main site, but that is the dedicated site for the community. It's a free Slack community, and it's got people around the world just trying to help each other do business better.
Yeah, no, I like it. Good. Send the elevator down, pay it forward. Good, good karma dollars going on here. So I'm going to click through. Well, I'll tell you what, let's get you back next quarter. Let's just get on a cadence with you, and we'll double click down into topics of the day next time.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks for having me on, Harry.
All right.